A table for two, only one person sitting. Every eye in the restaurant turned to the woman in the red dress, lips forcing a smile, wine glass still full. Poor thing, so pretty, but stood up. Someone's voice rang out, followed by laughter. She turned away, wiping a tear, standing to leave. The door burst open. Two children walked in, trembling, holding a rain-soaked paper. "Are you Emily?" "Yes, I am." "Our dad sent this." She opened it, the words bleeding in the rain. "Thank you for waiting. You're still the reason I want to live right." Emily Ward was 30 years old, human resources manager, light brown curls, wearing a red dress, composed demeanor. Living alone in Boston after her marriage fell apart at 28. For 2 years, she'd avoided every date, until today. A blind date arranged by a friend. She arrived early, chose a table by the window. Light filtered through her wine glass, casting ruby shadows. Every time she checked her watch, she forced that smile, as if believing he was just running late. The server glanced at her with pity. A couple nearby whispered, "Another Tinder casualty." Emily stayed silent, smoothing the tablecloth, keeping it flat. Rain fell heavy outside. Slow jazz played. She remembered this morning's phone call. Her mother saying, "Honey, try opening your heart one more time. No one should eat dinner alone forever." 10 years ago, Emily had dated a serviceman, someone who never came back from a rescue mission. She'd spent 3 years waiting for him, checking her phone, imagining his return. Until the day the uniformed officers knocked on her door with folded flags and hollow condolences. After that, she'd married quickly, desperately, to someone safe, someone who wouldn't leave. Except he did leave, just differently. Walked out when she needed him most, saying she was too closed off and still in love with a ghost. Now here she sat, 30 years old, trying again, feeling foolish. The restaurant buzzed with Friday night energy, couples laughing, friends toasting, everyone connected except her. "Miss, can I get you anything else?" The server's voice was gentle. "No, thank you. I'm just waiting." "Of course, very dumb." The server walked away, but Emily caught the sympathetic glance back. Her phone sat on the table. No messages, no calls, nothing. She opened her wallet, touching a yellowed letter tucked inside. Faded ink, handwritten. "If I make it back, I'll bring you coffee at 7. He never made it back. And now she was here, waiting again for someone who apparently wasn't coming either. The thought made her throat tight. Maybe her ex-husband was right. Maybe she was too damaged for this. Maybe she should just go home, change into pajamas, eat ice cream, and accept that some people weren't meant for happy endings. She reached for her purse. That's when the laughter started. "Look, she's still sitting there." "Girl, take the hint. He's not coming." "I give her 5 more minutes before she cries." Emily's face flushed. She stood, leaving cash on the table, more than enough to cover the wine she hadn't touched. Her hands shook as she grabbed her coat. The door burst open. 2 children stumbled in, soaking wet, breathing hard. A boy about 10, a girl about 8. Their clothes dripping, faces flushed from running. They looked around frantically until their eyes landed on her. "Are you Emily?" the boy gasped. Emily froze. "Yes." "Who are you?" The girl thrust out a crumpled, rain-soaked paper. "Our dad, he said, don't leave." With trembling fingers, Emily unfolded it. The ink was running, words bleeding together, but she could still read. "I'm sorry I got held up. Don't leave that table. The kids will explain. Please wait." Emily looked at the children, really looked at them. The boy had his father's jawline, sharp even at his age. The girl had eyes like storm clouds, deep and intense. "Where's your father?" she asked quietly. "He's coming," the boy said. "He made us promise to find you first." The restaurant had gone quiet, everyone watching now, but the mockery had shifted to curiosity. Emily knelt down to the children's level. "You're both soaking wet. Sit down, please." She pulled out chairs, wrapping her coat around the shivering girl. "What are your names?" "I'm Jake," the boy said. "This is Lily." "Jake and Lily, those are beautiful names. This is..." Emily signaled the server. Can we get hot chocolate, 2 cups, and some warm towels? The server rushed off, suddenly eager to help. Emily sat back down, the children flanking her. Now, tell me what happened. Jake spoke first, words tumbling out. Dad's been planning this date for 2 weeks. He was so nervous, kept asking if his shirt looked okay. Lily nodded vigorously. He practiced what to say in the mirror. We helped. Emily felt something crack in her chest. He practiced? Yeah, Jake continued. He doesn't date, like, ever. Mom died 4 years ago. Car accident. Since then, it's just been us three. The information hit Emily like a wave. Single father, widower, just like her friend had mentioned, but hearing it from the children made it devastatingly real. Your friend set it up, Lily added. Said you were special, that Dad should meet you. What happened tonight? Emily asked gently. Why isn't he here? Jake pulled out his phone, showing her a news alert. There was an accident on the bridge. Dad was driving to the restaurant when he saw it happen. The image showed a pickup truck stopped sideways across 2 lanes, hazard lights flashing. Emergency vehicles surrounding it. He called us, Lily said, her voice small. Said there was a woman trapped in a car, pregnant. The car was smoking. Jake picked up the story. Dad's a firefighter. He couldn't just drive past. He told us to take his phone, find your number, and come tell you. Made us promise we'd make sure you didn't leave. Emily's throat tightened. He was worried about me? While saving someone? He said, Lily paused, remembering. He said you'd think he stood you up, that you'd believe people always leave, and he couldn't let you believe that. The hot chocolate arrived. Emily helped the children wrap their cold hands around the warm mugs. How did you get here? She asked, suddenly realizing. Did you walk? Cab, Jake said. Dad always keeps emergency cash in a jar, for emergencies. He said this was one. Emily blinked back tears. A man she'd never met, in the middle of rescuing someone, had sent his children through the rain to make sure she knew he wasn't abandoning hers. The server who'd been eavesdropping wiped her eyes. That's the most romantic thing I've ever heard. The couple who'd mocked Emily earlier looked ashamed, suddenly very interested in their plates. Emily pulled the rain-soaked note closer, reading the parts that weren't destroyed by water. At the bottom, barely legible. I'm still coming home. Wait for me. Those words, she'd heard them before, 10 years ago, from a man who never came home. But this was different. This man had sent his children. Had made sure she knew. Had prioritized her feelings even while literally saving a life. Tell me about your dad, Emily said softly. What's he like? Lily smiled for the first time. He makes really bad pancakes, like really bad, but we eat them anyway because he tries so hard. Jake laughed. He sings in the shower, off key, thinks we can't hear him. He reads to us every night, Lily added, even though we're probably too old for it. But we don't tell him because it makes him happy. He went back to school, Jake said proudly, at night, getting his degree, so we can go to college one day. Emily felt each detail like a physical thing, building a picture of a man who was devoted, imperfect, trying. And your mom? She asked carefully. Do you remember her? Both children nodded. She was a nurse, Jake said. She died helping someone too. Car accident on the way to an emergency call. Dad says she'd want us to help people, Lily whispered. That's why he couldn't drive past tonight. Emily understood then. This family had been shaped by loss, by service, by putting others first even when it cost them everything. Just like her. Her phone buzzed, unknown number. She answered. Hello? Emily? A man's voice rough with exhaustion. This is Daniel Hayes. I'm so sorry. Did my kids find you? Emily looked at Jake and Lily, now contentedly drinking hot chocolate, color returning to their cheeks. They did. Thank God. Relief flooded his voice. I'm at the hospital. The woman I pulled out, she's okay. Baby's okay, but I need to give a statement. It's going to be a while longer. I understand if you want to leave. This is a disaster of a first date. Emily surprised herself by laughing. Actually, I think it's the best first date I've ever had. Silence on the other end. The best? He repeated, disbelieving. Your children are extraordinary. They told me about you, about your mom, about burnt pancakes and off-key singing and bedtime stories. She paused. About a man who sends his kids through the rain to make sure a stranger knows she hasn't been forgotten. You're not a stranger, Daniel said quietly. Sarah, your friend, she told me about you, about what you've been through, about the servicemen, about your marriage. She thought maybe two people who understand loss might understand each other. Emily's eyes filled. I'm tired of being alone. Me too. But I'm scared. Me too. What if this doesn't work? She asked. Then at least we tried. At least we were brave enough to show up. He paused. Well, I didn't exactly show up on time, but I sent representatives. Emily laughed through her tears. The best representatives. Emily, I need to finish here, but can you stay? Just a little longer? I promise I'm coming. She looked at the children, at the restaurant that had gone from mockery to invested in her story, at the rain-soaked note that proved someone cared. I'll wait, she said. We'll all wait. An hour passed. Emily, Jake, and Lily had ordered food. The children ate hungrily, telling stories between bites. The restaurant staff had become invested. The server kept refilling water, checking on them. The manager had quietly comped their meal. Then Emily's phone rang again. This time a different voice. Is this Emily Ward? Yes. This is Boston General Hospital. We have Daniel Hayes here. He listed you as his emergency contact. Can you come? Emily's blood ran cold. Emergency contact. What happened? He collapsed while giving his statement. We think exhaustion and possible injuries from the rescue. He's stable, but we need someone here for the children. Emily looked at Jake and Lily, who'd gone still, faces white. We're coming, Emily said. She paid the bill despite the manager's protests, bundled the children back into her coat, and flagged a cab. In the taxi, Lily started crying. Dad always takes care of us. Who takes care of him? Emily pulled the little girl close. Tonight, we do. At the hospital, they were directed to the emergency wing. Daniel was in a curtained area, arm in a sling, face pale, but conscious. When he saw his children, relief flooded his features. Hey kids, I'm okay. Then his eyes found Emily. They stared at each other. First time seeing each other in person. He was handsome in an everyday way. Tired eyes, strong jaw, hands that looked like they'd built things and torn things down and held children and fought fires. You came, he said, voice rough. You asked me to wait, Emily replied. Seemed rude to leave. A smile cracked across his exhausted face. I'm Daniel. I know, your public relations team was very thorough. He laughed, then winced, hand going to his ribs. Turns out I cracked some ribs pulling the car door off. Adrenaline hit it until now. The doctor appeared. Mr. Hayes needs rest. We're keeping him overnight for observation. But the kids, Daniel started. It can stay with me, Emily finished, if that's okay with you. Daniel looked at her for a long moment. You just met us. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. Jake and Lily looked between their father and Emily, something like hope blooming on their faces. Are you sure? Daniel asked quietly. Emily thought about the years of being alone, the years of being scared, the years of believing everyone leaves. And then she thought about two children running through the rain, about a man making sure she knew she mattered even while saving a life, about chances and courage and choosing to be brave. I'm sure. They took a cab to Daniel's apartment. It was small but clean, filled with evidence of a life being actively lived. Children's artwork on the fridge, work boots by the door, a stack of textbooks on the kitchen counter. Dad's studying business management, Jake explained, seeing Emily notice. Wants to be a fire chief someday. Emily helped the children change into dry clothes, made them tea, tucked them into their beds. Lily grabbed her hand as she turned to leave. Will you be here when we wake up? Emily's throat tightened. Where else would I be? People leave, Lily whispered. Mom left, not on purpose, but she still left. Emily sat back down on the bed. You're right, People do leave. Sometimes they have to, sometimes they choose to, sometimes it's not fair and it hurts and it changes everything. So you'll leave too? Maybe someday. Maybe we'll both leave at the same time, old and happy and together. But tonight I'm here, and tomorrow I'll be here, and we'll figure out the rest as we go. Promise of this house? Emily thought about all the promises that had been broken, all the assurances that proved hollow, all the reasons she'd built walls. And then she thought about Daniel sending his children through the rain. Promise. She slept on the couch, barely slept really, checking her phone for updates from the hospital. At 3 a.m., a text came. Still alive. Kids okay? Sleeping. I'm on your couch. Hope that's not weird. Weirdest first date ever, but somehow perfect. Thank you for staying. Thank you for sending them. I couldn't let you think I'd forgotten you. The moment Sarah showed me your picture, told me your story, I knew I had to meet you, had to show you that some people keep their promises. Emily stared at the text for a long time before responding. I was ready to give up on dating, on believing, on hoping. And now? Now I'm sitting on a stranger's couch at 3 a.m., watching his children sleep, waiting for him to come home. So I guess I'm not giving up yet. Good, don't. I'm coming home, Emily, I promise. Those words, she'd heard them before, but this time she believed them. Daniel came home the next morning, still pale, arm in a sling, moving carefully. The children rushed to him, and he caught them one-armed, wincing but smiling. Over their heads, his eyes found Emily's. Morning, he said. Morning. You stayed. I promised. They stood there, two broken people who'd found each other through children and rain and impossible timing. Coffee? Emily offered. Please. She moved through his kitchen like she belonged there, finding mugs and filters and grounds. It felt natural, easy. The children settled at the table with cereal, watching their father and Emily with barely concealed delight. So, Daniel said carefully, weirdest first date ever. Definitely top 5. Top 5? You've had weirder? Emily smiled. There was the guy who brought his mother, and the guy who spent the entire meal talking to his ex on the phone. But you're certainly the first to send children as proxies. In my defense, I was saving a life. I know. Jake and Lily told me. They're very proud of you. Daniel glanced at his children, love and exhaustion warring on his face. I just did what anyone would do. No, Emily said firmly. You did what a good person does. There's a difference. They drank coffee in comfortable silence. Outside, the rain had finally stopped. Emily, Daniel said quietly, can I tell you something? Of course. I haven't dated since my wife died, 4 years. The kids kept asking when we'd have a family again. When there'd be someone besides just the 3 of us, I kept saying we were fine alone. He paused, gathering words. Then Sarah showed me your picture, told me you'd been through loss too, that you understood what it meant to rebuild. And I thought, maybe it's time to stop being alone. Maybe it's time to show my kids that being brave means trying even when you're scared. Emily felt tears building. I've been scared for 10 years. Me too. What if we fail? What if this doesn't work? What if we hurt each other or the kids? Or what if it does work? Daniel interrupted gently. What if we're brave enough to try and it actually works? Emily looked at Jake and Lily, who were pretending not to listen while obviously hanging on every word. Your children ran through the rain for me, a stranger. They're good kids. They knew this was important. Why was it important? You didn't even know me. Daniel met her eyes. Because Sarah said you were someone who'd been waiting a long time. And I know what it feels like to wait, to hope, to believe someone might show up. I couldn't let you wait alone. Emily's tears spilled over. I was about to leave. Right when they arrived. Another 30 seconds and I'd have been gone. But you weren't. You stayed. Because they gave me a reason to. So now what? Daniel asked. Emily stood up, walking to the window. The morning sun was breaking through clouds, casting gold across wet streets. Now, she said slowly, We see if two scared people can build something together. We take it slow, we figure it out, we mess up and apologize and try again. She turned back to him. And we promise to keep showing up, even when it's hard, even when we're scared. We show up. Daniel nodded. I can do that. Me too, Lily piped up. Does this mean you're staying? Emily laughed. For breakfast, definitely. After that, we'll see. Over the next month, Emily and Daniel built something tentative and tender. She came over for dinners, helped with homework, taught Daniel how to make edible pancakes. He took her on proper dates, movies, museums, long walks where they talked about everything and nothing. The children became her shadows, showing her their favorite places, introducing her to their friends, unconsciously weaving her into the fabric of their lives. One evening, Emily arrived to find Daniel in the kitchen, trying to cook something complicated and failing spectacularly. What are you attempting? She asked, surveying the disaster. Coq au vin. I watched a YouTube tutorial. It looked easy. It's literally burning. I know. He turned off the stove, laughing. I wanted to impress you. Daniel, Emily said gently, you sent your children through a rainstorm to make sure I knew I mattered. You're already impressive. He pulled her close, carefully because his ribs were still healing. I never thought I'd feel this again. After Maria died, I thought that part of my life was over. And now? Now I'm terrified and hopeful and so grateful you waited. Emily rested her head on his shoulder. I'm glad your timing was terrible. He laughed. Only you would say that. If you'd been on time, we'd have had a normal date, awkward small talk, forced conversation. Neither of us would have been real. And instead, I met your children first, saw what kind of father you are, learned about your character before I saw your face. That's better than any perfect date. Daniel kissed the top of her head. I'm falling in love with you. Emily stilled. That's terrifying. I know. I'm falling in love with you, too. I know. They stood in the kitchen, surrounded by ruined French food and perfect imperfection. 6 months later, Emily had a key to Daniel's apartment. Her toothbrush lived in his bathroom. Half her clothes hung in his closet. They hadn't officially moved in together, but they also hadn't spent a night apart in 2 months. One Saturday morning, Emily woke to find the apartment empty. A note on the kitchen counter. Meet us at the corner of 5th and Oak, 9 a.m. Dress warm. Love. Your family. Her family. She dressed quickly, nerves and excitement mixing. At the corner, she found Daniel and the children waiting by a small cafe. Not just any cafe, the one where they were supposed to have their first date. What are we doing here? Emily asked. Do-over, Daniel said, smiling. Our first date was unconventional. I thought we deserved a proper one. He'd reserved the same table by the window. The children had decorated it with handmade paper flowers. They ordered breakfast. Jake and Lily kept giggling, exchanging looks. What are you two plotting? Emily asked suspiciously. Nothing, they said in unison, unconvincingly. After they ate, Daniel stood, suddenly nervous. He reached into his pocket. Emily Ward, I'm going to do this all wrong. I'm terrible at speeches. Ask anyone. Dad practiced in the mirror again, Lily Stage whispered. Emily laughed, tears already forming. 6 months ago, I was planning to be alone forever, convinced I'd had my chance at love and lost it. Then I got held up saving someone, sent my kids through the rain, and somehow met you. He knelt, shakily, because his knee was bad from years of firefighting. You waited. When everyone laughed, when it looked like I wasn't coming, you waited. And you keep waiting. You wait when I'm late from work. You wait when I'm scared and pulling back. You wait when I'm difficult and broken and trying to figure out how to do this. He opened a small box. Inside a simple silver ring. So now I'm asking you to wait one more time. To wait with me. To build a life where we both keep showing up. Keep being brave. Keep choosing each other. Emily's tears spilled over. Will you marry me? Will you be part of this weird, imperfect, beautiful family? Jake and Lily held hands, barely breathing. Emily knelt down to meet Daniel's eyes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. The cafe erupted in applause. Apparently the staff remembered them, had been rooting for them all along. Daniel slipped the ring on her finger. and she kissed him as their children cheered. Later, at home, Emily found herself in the kitchen making coffee while Daniel wrangled the overexcited children into bed. She looked at the ring on her finger, thought about the rain-soaked note she still kept in her wallet, about promises and waiting and brave choices. Her phone buzzed, a text from her mother. "Finally, I knew that blind date would work." Emily smiled, responding, "It almost didn't, but sometimes the best things come from the worst timing." Daniel appeared, having successfully subdued two very wound-up children. "They're demanding you read bedtime stories now. You've officially been adopted." "Good thing I said yes then." They walked to the children's room together. Lily and Jake were tucked in but wide awake. "Tell us the story again," Lily begged, "about the night you met." Emily and Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, and together they told the story about rain and children and waiting, about a woman in a red dress and a man who sent his best representatives, about choosing to be brave. When the children finally slept, Emily and Daniel returned to the living room. "Are you scared?" Emily asked. "Terrified." "Me too." "Good," Daniel said, pulling her close. "Fear means it matters, means we care enough to be scared of losing it. I spent 10 years afraid to care again. And now? Now I'm afraid of the right things, not of being hurt, but of not trying, of playing it safe and missing this." They stood by the window, watching Boston lights twinkle. "Thank you for being late," Emily said quietly. Daniel laughed. "That's definitely a first. I mean it. If you'd been on time, we'd have had pleasant small talk. I would have been guarded, you would have been nervous. We wouldn't have been real. Instead, I sent my kids through a storm. Instead, you showed me who you were before you showed me your smile. You showed me your heart through them. That's worth waiting for." Daniel kissed her temple. "I spent 4 years believing I'd had my chance at love, that it was Maria and after her nothing. What changed? Sarah showed me your picture and said, she's been waiting too long for someone worth waiting for. And I thought maybe we could wait together. Maybe two people who understand loss could build something stronger because of what we survived." Emily turned in his arms. "I love you, your burnt pancakes, your off-key singing, your terrible timing. You were beautiful children. All of it. I love you too. Your guarded heart that decided to open anyway. Your patience, your courage, the way you show up even when you're scared." They kissed, slow and gentle, a promise of tomorrows. A year later, they returned to that same corner cafe. It wasn't just the 5 of them anymore. Emily's mother had joined them. Daniel's father, Sarah, the friend who'd set them up, taking full credit. The staff had hung a small plaque by their original table, "Where patience met love, where waiting was worth it." Emily stood with Daniel, his arm around her waist, watching their children laugh with grandparents. "No regrets?" Daniel asked. "Only one." "What's that?" "I wish I could go back to that night, to the woman sitting alone while people mocked her. I'd tell her to wait just 5 more minutes, that the best things come when you're about to give up." Daniel kissed her hair. She waited, and look what happened. Emily smiled, looking at the life they'd built, the family they'd chosen, the courage they'd found. "Yeah," she said softly, "look what happened." Sometimes the best love stories start with the worst timing. Sometimes the person worth waiting for is running late because they're saving someone else. Sometimes family isn't who you're born to, but who runs through the rain for you. Wait for the one who sends their heart before they send themselves. Wait for the one who makes sure you know you matter. Wait for the love worth waiting for. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told, leave a comment and subscribe to Strong Dad Stories. We tell the stories that shouldn't be forgotten.